playing with confidence. Serves it inside 50.
Inside 50, good hands.
Drilling it into centre half forward. That was end-to-end football at its best.
Back-to-back goals either side of quarter time.
They have done it, the Bulldogs!
I'd fight somebody for you. There ain't no wall I would run through. In your corner when they're ringing the bell. Come hell or high water. I'd fight somebody for you.
Yes, hello Waffle fans. Welcome one and all to another edition of Around the Waffle on the Around the Waffle YouTube channel and on your podcast service as we look forward to another massive weekend of football in the Waffle and Waffle W. And it is a big week, no doubt about that, because we've got big games aplenty in both competitions as we move into the last weekend before the state game break. And I'm pleased to say not only will we be recapping all the big games, but we've got a stacked lineup coming your way. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Paul Persick's my name, and alongside me, well, he's a waffle nut, a waffle passionista, whatever way you want to put it. Andrew Henryon is with me, the bloke they call Muppet. Hello, mate. How are you?
Thanks, Paul. Terrific to be here. Can't wait to talk footy. Waffle.
Oh, it's going to be a big weekend. There's no doubt about that. We've got Charlie Constable standing by. We'll talk to him in just a little bit, the reigning Sandover medalist, as they build to a massive game against Claremont. And then later on, one of your very own, as far as the club you've been associated with is concerned, WAFL W, big game against Subiaco this weekend. We'll be speaking with their new forward, Zoe Huggett, who was the leading goal kicker at South Fremantle and has now made her way over to West Perth. They've got a huge game against Subiaco.
Yep, that should be a ripper. West Perth Subi, always a bit of fun.
No doubt about it. That is at HIF Health Insurance Oval. But let's get to some news items in the week leading into this weekend, Muppet. Of course, Waffle, they love promoting the regions, whether it be regional games or the Trophy Tour, and that is what's headlined the week. The Trophy Tour was back for a second year, this time over at the Dongara Irwin Recreation Ground, and great attendance there by not only the youngsters but also the older fans of the WAFL, and it's good that WA football is promoting the game in the regional towns to great success.
Yeah, fantastic initiative. I mean, that's East Fremantle zone up there, Geraldton, Northampton, so yeah, that's got a terrific history of football up that way. So yeah, Sullivan Logistics is a major sponsor. They're just fantastic.
And Country Football WA providing joint backing along with WA Football. So it's good that the country regions are getting a taste of waffle football, and fingers crossed with the success that they've had in the last 2 years now, it could bring back the possibility of regional games, because that also forms a good layer of promotion in the WAFL, especially after games we had in Northampton, Geraldton and Kalgoorlie in recent years.
Yeah, I was at the Perth one against West Coast. It started at 11 in the morning. That was a beauty. Good game. Perth unfortunately got done just at the end, but great crowd, and the locals really embraced it, and that was the major thing.
Let's hope they do next time we do have a regional game. West Perth, of course, they've had an injury problem during the week. Kobe Lacroix, who didn't play last week against Peel Thunder, turns out he's got an ACL issue that will keep him out of the Under-18 Championship that'll start in June. So big blow for the Falcons to one of their young guns.
Yeah, I just texted his uncle Mark and just said, what's the lowdown? All he said, he'll be out for a while. But look, there's plenty of upside. Probably the only good thing about it, if you can say that, is that it's happened early in his career, not when he's about to get drafted and things like that, but a lot of upside. Third generation. His granddad Peter played at East Fremantle. His two uncles played at West Perth. And his dad, Bruno, played at North Melbourne, didn't he, as well?
That's right.
And then, Mark Lacroix's career speaks for itself, but a terrific family.
It certainly is. We wish Kobe all the very best as he recovers. And Claremont, behind the scenes, they've struck a big coup. They've appointed a new CEO. He was the General Manager of Football Operations at East Perth, and now he's off to the Western Suburbs, Warren Parker.
Yeah, he is a solid operator. I mean, I've got a theory, East Perth, Claremont and South, on-field and off-field, they're the leaders of the comp right now. And, Claremont's gain is East Perth's loss. That's all I can say.
It certainly will be. And Claremont, of course, they're thriving on the field, but also off the field as well. So massive news there for the Tigers. Of course, he's had roles with the Tigers, guiding some of their underage programs at the turn of the millennium, also with WA Football and East Perth. And Warren Parker is coming full circle, so to speak, returning to the Claremont Football Club. All right, let's get down to business, Muppet. Perth, massive clash they've got on the weekend against Claremont as they look to make a statement as one of the key finals contenders in 2026. And joining us on the line to look ahead to that very game is the reigning Sandover medalist, Charlie Constable. He joins us here on Around the Waffle. G'day, Charlie.
Afternoon, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Great to have you on, Charlie. Let's cut to the chase. This is a big game, isn't it? It's a massive contest between the league leaders of 2026. How psyched are you and the team heading into this big one on Saturday?
Yeah, we're super excited. Anytime you get to come up against the team that's on the top of the ladder, it's a great opportunity. And, we've watched a little bit of their stuff already, and they're certainly in some great form and have good players all over the field. So we'll certainly have to be at our best to beat them, but super excited about the challenge.
I've seen Claremont a few times this year, and to me, the one thing they're doing better than any other side in the comp is their fast movement from the half-back line. Players like Davis and Alvarez getting the ball quickly onto England and Rogers. Then up front, they got the big fella and Gowdy. Obvious question, how are you going to combat all that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Their real strength is their half-back line, being able to intercept the ball and then switch it off the line and go from there. So, it's going to be a massive challenge for our forward line, getting the ball to ground and trying to lock the ball in our forward 50. And then, a lot falls on the midfield too, making sure our entries are in good spots and gives our forwards a chance to compete. So it'll certainly be a focus area this week, but it's certainly easier said than done.
Would that mean, Perth adapting a more physical approach to the game against the Tigers, who love to have that run and carry through the midfield, and also to add to that an extra option in the forward line?
I don't think necessarily too much will change from our end. You obviously got to take into account what the opposition's strengths are, but we feel like we've got a pretty potent forward line. So if we can win contests, pressure them, get the ball back and get it in there to good spots, we feel like we can be really dangerous.
Mark Stone's got a reputation in the comp. He analyses opposition teams better than any other coach. What's been the message so far this week?
Yeah, Stoney's got an unbelievable footy brain, and I think you're right. The way he analyses oppositions and how we're going is pretty incredible. So, we'll certainly have some focus areas going into the game, but overall, there's parts of our games that we need to improve that probably through the first 5 weeks, and there's some stuff we're doing well. So the evolution of our group is we want to keep getting better and be the best team in the competition. So we'll certainly go to school on what we can get better at, and hopefully that's good enough to get us over the line this week.
You had 2 welcome returns last week in the win over East Fremantle. You had Brendan Parfitt come back and Lockie Payton come back, both in successful fashion. Payton getting 3 goals and Parfitt over 30 disposals. Another player that we're keeping our eyes on is Blake Schlensog. How far away do you think he's away from coming back?
Yeah, Blake's behind the scenes doing plenty of work. He had a little bit of an interrupted pre-season and, he wasn't too far off playing, and we decided to give him a few extra weeks just to make sure he's super fit. So, I think hopefully within, sort of a month, 4 to 6 weeks, he'll be back fit and firing. And I think everyone can tell that when he's out there, we're a much better team. So we're certainly excited to get him back.
Fingers crossed for Blake Schlensog. We hope he does return very soon. And all the best to you and the Demons side. It's a massive game at Mineral Resources Park. Let's hope for a great turnout on Saturday. Thanks for your time, Charlie. All the best for that massive game.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
That was the Sandover medalist of 2025, Charlie Constable, joining us.
Can play.
He certainly can. The resume speaks for itself. Premiership player in the VFL at the Gold Coast and has followed that success out here to West Australia with the Sandover medal. Stay where you are, fans. We'll be back with all the big action heading into round 6 of the Sullivan Logistics WAFL Premiership season. Paul Persick and Andrew Henryon are with you, bringing you all the big action leading up to a huge weekend of footy. It's all thanks to Grant's Car Stereo, Sullivan Logistics, Front Row Screens and District Promotions. Don't go anywhere. More after this.
Take it from me, great things happen at the Waffle.
Valentine Roads and goals.
With free entry for kids, future stars on the ground, and a kick to kick at every break. The Waffle is where footy memories start and legends are made. Follow the Waffle on socials or get to a game.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate. On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Stereo Morley. Proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years. Selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems. Stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley. Or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
And you're back with us here on Around the Waffle as we look ahead to another huge weekend of football in the Waffle and, of course, the WAFL W, which we'll be previewing later on. Speaking of WAFL W, we, of course, have got Zoe Huggett from West Perth joining us a little later, the South Fremantle leading goal kicker of 2025. And we're going on location to Claremont this week as well. Speaking with Jack Schwarze, the Claremont Premiership coach and also the state coach heading into that massive game on May 16. We'll tell you more about that a little later on. But let's get into round 6 of the WAFL Muppet, of course. Sullivan Logistics WAFL action, the last round before the state break. And we start off at 1:40 on Saturday, live on 7+. It is the West Coast Eagles looking to repeat what happened last year at this time of the year against reigning premiers South Fremantle. The Eagles, despite the loss to East Perth last week, they're still going to have a stacked side, about 15, 16 AFL listed players, but they're up against a South Fremantle side who are only starting to hit top gear following their loss to Claremont earlier this season. They had some good wins in the last few weeks, but now I don't know. This is going to be another big test against a relative unknown. And what I mean by that is an unknown. How many AFL-listed players are going to come into the side? Are the Eagles going to make many changes? It's going to be interesting to see what comes out. I
don't expect many changes from the Eagles, and I think this is another danger game for South Fremantle. I just like the look. If that forward line has Owies and Jack Williams in it, that's potent to me. That just says goals, goals, goals. South Fremantle, they've had that issue this week that Strom and Rusco were going to take off for a month or so mid-season. Yeah. Against West Perth, they were solid, and they won and they deserved to win. Also, if Parker doesn't play and Free doesn't play again, they're two of their A-graders. I'm starting to lean towards the Eagles having a bit of a day out here.
Yeah, you may have a good case because, they really did miss Owies in that forward line just a week or so ago when he kicked 5 goals in that 1-point win over Swan Districts. That brings some extra tall timber into the forward line. But it's not just their forward line that, is looking pretty potent with those two in. Their midfield is also full of talent as well. Gross and Hall have been brilliant. So is Dewar, who's continuing to get better week in, week out, has good run and carry across the centre. And South Fremantle, even though they're missing Hamish Free, they have brought in another strong ruckman, Claremont's West Love, who had over 25 hitouts last weekend in a very good performance last weekend and a very serviceable one too against Subiaco in that 3-point win. So they've got some tall timber to make up for the loss of Hamish Free, and the likes of Bletchenden and Ferenka will continue to lead that midfield brigade. Yeah.
South Fremantle's team is stacked. There's no argument. I just like that the Eagles, I saw them against West Perth. West Perth had been on toast till half-time, and I thought this was going to be a runaway win. The Eagles of last year would have given up. This year, they're playing for spots.
They are.
There's a lot to play for. They've had the wins already, and they've been solid, and they come home well. They play well in the second half of games, so that's what I like about them. And I just like Jack Williams, those contest marks he can take inside 50. They hurt you.
They certainly do, and it certainly hurt Swan Districts the last week before their loss to East Perth. And what really needs to be improved on against South Fremantle is their turnovers in midfield in the first half. They lacked that polish last week, often turning it over when they're going into their forward 50, and East Perth easily were able to repel from defence into attack. But South Fremantle, I still feel, have that cattle to overcome the likes of the Eagles. Bletchenden, Florenka, Jermaine Jones and Isaiah Winder. I think they've got more class. You hit the nail on the head, and that's why I'm going with South Fremantle in this game, because they've just got a little bit more class, more continuity in their lineup. And okay, the news of Strom and Rusco going to Europe mid-season will upset them a little bit, but not to the extent, because that's still a few weeks away. So I still think the continuity is going to be there on Saturday in what is going to be very pleasant conditions, and that's why I'm sticking with South Fremantle to beat them, but not by much. I feel it'll be 3 goals.
I'm going to go for an upset. I'm going to go for the Eagles.
Good
I reckon the Eagles can get them. Craig White at 3/4 time against West Perth, he got stuck into South. He went hard at them and put them on notice. And he told me at the end of the game, I was relieved because West Perth were having a crack. I reckon, I'm just going to say the Eagles might get the chocolates.
Ooh, that's a big one to repeat the dose of last year. He's gone the early crow. He's gone with the Eagles. I've gone with the Bulldogs, but that should be a ripper game over at Fremantle Oval. And so will this one, live on Channel 7 from 2:10 at Mineral Resources Park. Dare we say it, Perth's biggest test of the year so far. They're up against the league leaders Claremont, who are looking for 6 wins out of 6 heading into the state game break. But Perth, should they get the job done, that will certainly be a statement win if they can get it done, because because they have got class in their lineup. Likewise for the Tigers. But as we talked about with Charlie Constable, Claremont just love that run and carry through the midfield. They've got weapons, and I reckon Perth might have to adapt a more physical approach here, because if you're to take Claremont out of their running game, you've got to apply physical pressure. That's what they've got to do to get it done.
Yeah, they do, because Claremont is that sort of team. They can get on a roll and they can kick 5 goals in 10 minutes and it's game over. They've just got that speed through the middle. Guys like Music are the small forwards along with Main Waring. And then Gowdy's taken some really good clunks up front along with Waterman. They're a real complete side, Claremont. What I like about them, I know people don't take this on board, but I do. When John Dimmer was coaching West Perth 30 years ago, he used to say, if we go down to Fremantle Oval or East Fremantle Oval early in the year, this is our grand final. If we can win at East Fremantle Oval or Fremantle Oval, boys, we can win the grand final. Claremont have ticked that box this year, and they haven't been able to do it for several years down there, and that was a massive win.
No, you're absolutely right. I think you hit the nail on the head there. You know, you tick off those little boxes, and they've really just stepped up a gear since that win over South Fremantle. And, you know, I said it before and I'll say it again, to back up your point, they've got the best forward line in the competition. Gowdy, the likes of Main Waring can act up as a small forward, can play. Waterman, absolutely. And also some other big options that can complement it. Sam Van Rooyen, Hunter as well. So that forward line has just been potent all throughout the season so far. And that's going to be a real big test for Perth's back line, especially led by the likes of Taylor and Charlie Dean, who's taken to the waffle like a duck to water. I spoke with him a few weeks ago, and he said that the WAFL style really is suiting his game as well. So I reckon that matchup between Charlie Dean, and I reckon he'll go on Waterman, and that could be a matchup that might go a long way into winning.
I just think Perth will play a bit more of a conservative game.
Okay.
I reckon they're going to have to hold the ball off Claremont to not let that run-on play happen, and just not allow Claremont to get on a roll. Get the pig bend behind them, get a few goals. You never know what could happen.
Well, think about it. They averaged 3 more goals, Claremont, than Perth, 14 to 11 so far this season. And, you know, those numbers really tell how potent Claremont's forward line is. But I reckon the back line's going to have their biggest litmus test. Dean, Taylor, you know, easing the workload on Elijah Scoble. And if they're to play a more conservative game, they can't keep it held in their back 50 for so long, because Claremont are really good at making you pay off those turnovers as well, especially with their run and carry. But I feel if Perth do play that conservative game and slowly do that chip and run from end to end, it might work wonders for them. Claremont not used to that run and chip style. They usually like to run, transition from defence into attack in a blitz.
I reckon Perth will hold them till half-time, and then the damn wall will bust after half-time, and Claremont will get a run on and probably win by 3 or 4 goals.
So you've gone with Claremont, I'm going the other way. I feel Perth, I reckon they can rise to the occasion with a great crowd behind them at Mineral Resources Park. I reckon they'll be inspired by this test. They can tick this box off on Saturday and end Claremont's unbeaten run before the state game. But it's going to be a great clash either way.
Yep, looking forward to that one on the telly.
It's going to be a good one. 2:10 live on Channel 7. And now we go over to another big game, this time at Sullivan Logistics Stadium, 2:30, East Perth and Peel Thunder. And a bit of a sentiment for East Perth before we go into detail. Their 120th year celebration coming this Saturday as well. So all the old faces and young faces of the East Perth Football Club want to get down to Sullivan Logistics Stadium and present a great milestone. But Peel, they want to spoil the party. And you've got a good case for them, because now they're starting to really hit top gear, especially after their win over West Perth and after a couple of 1-point losses that they were a bit unlucky to lose those games against the likes of Perth and Subiaco. They're due to win a tough one, and I feel that this is going to be a tough one. But having said that, East Perth, they too are only starting to hit top gear right at this very moment.
Yeah, this is a line ball game. This is a flip of the coin. Depending who, so you think they will get Jeremy Sharp back? That's
I think so.
Massive tick. You think Swede will play?
I think Swede will play.
And and he's got pace. And Cherry's the other one I'm thinking of.
Cherry, I'm a bit 50-50 on him. East Perth, I reckon they could bring back Jacob Mazzando, who's crafty off half-back. He's been battling some injuries in the last couple of weeks. I saw him at training just a week or two ago, and the Peel Thunder game is his objective. If he does return, that'll boost their half-back line just a little bit.
Yeah, this is a line ball game. Like you said, Peel have been thereabouts in every game, should have won a couple. Adam Reid's not happy. They've just lost the games that they should have won. Getting Sharp back, he's a ball magnet on the wing. I'm not convinced about East Perth. I reckon they're a good side. Can they win it? Yeah, maybe. I just can't tip this one.
Well, Tregenza's been in fine form. That might also be a backup as to why you've gone with Peel, because he's now back in form with 4 goals against West Perth, but that was against a subpar West Perth backline, against an East Perth backline that doesn't have a lot of tools but has got a lot of craftsmanship. They're more of a mosquito fleet defensive 50. I reckon Tregenza might have a good time in that forward line against East Perth. Ideal conditions, very well suited to tall forwards like Corey Tregenza, and I reckon if he kicks a bag, that could go a long way.
Well, down back, they play that keepy off game, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Perth with Stan Wright, he generals that back line, just gets players loose and sets it up like that. So they're going to try and keep the ball off Peel so they can't move it quickly, you'd think. But Tregenza, I saw him in round 1 against East Fremantle, does take good pack marks. So they're going to have to be on their watch. But East Perth, their forward line of like Middleton, Schofield, Medhat, and the recruit back of Craven, there's goals there as well. Leaderville crowd behind them. Yeah, celebrations. Lot to like about East Perth. The Ross McQueen factor. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know. I just get the feeling that a lot of those Peel players are playing for their season. They want to get back in that Dockers side. I reckon they might get the chocolates this week.
You could present a good case there, and especially with Peel Thunder wanting to get back into the 5 before the state game break. So that'll be massive, no doubt about that, for the Peel Thunder side. But I'm going with East Perth. I'm going with them because of their forward options. You know, Schofield was brilliant. Middleton was brilliant. What's good about Middleton, not only he kicks goals himself, but creates opportunities for his other forwards. He was brilliant on the roving division inside 50 against the Eagles, but I reckon it'll be a close one. It should be a ripper. You've gone with Peel. I've gone with East Perth.
With no confidence, by the way.
No confidence. Okay, so we've gone different on 3 games. I wonder if it's heart or head for the both of us. We don't know. Steel Blue Oval is next, and this is a beauty. Swan Districts and East Fremantle on 7+. Can't wait to call this one with John Townsend on the Saturday in great conditions. This is a must-win for both sides because the players that are under the spotlight in the state squad certainly will want to bring a good performance under their belts to be selected for that final team for May 16's encounter. But in this game in particular, they're both coming off losses, and pretty bad ones, in fact, as well.
East Fremantle especially.
Oh, absolutely. And they've got more options up forward. You know, you've got Vladic, who came back, kicked 3 goals, the interstaters in Smart and Robinson. But Swan Districts had Coleman come back last week, but to not much success. He kicked 2 goals, but only had the ball 4 times. But they've still got good run and carry out of the midfield. Turner, Hinchcliffe, the former Big Bash cricketer, he's adapted well to WAFL football. But East Fremantle, they've got a little something more to play for, I feel, especially when they're closing in on the 5. And if they can win, that'll certainly keep them in touch heading into the state game.
Well, I know it's going early, but whatever team loses this on the weekend, it's just about getting close to curtains for the season. It's going to be hard to come back. I like East Fremantle. One reason, and that is Oscar Smart. He's dangerous inside that forward 50. He just kicks goals. He's a solid player. He's hard to tackle, and he just kicks goals. That's what he's there to do, kicks goals.
Plays his role very well. Same case with Liam Robinson, and that's why they're in tandem. So he is, former Norwood player over in South Australia, and he's really going to make a big statement if he kicks another bag. I feel that with the form that he's been on, you know, kicking multiple bags of goals with the exception of the loss to Perth, I reckon that is going to be a real key for them. But also, East Fremantle, I really have them as a big chance because I like the way Billy Monahan gets the best out of the young players in particular. He's a very good coach, has got premiership experience at 2 clubs, and I feel when the chips are down, Billy likes to get inside the heads of the players and get them to believe that they can achieve it. Okay, it was a bit tough against Perth at home. They were up against a more polished midfield, but against the Swan District side that, you know, has only clicked into gear once, and that was the game against West Perth. And having said that, they did only lose by a point against the Eagles. I feel that this is a game where both sides, if they can win, the winner of this game will still have hope of making the 5.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I just don't like that East Fremantle got a belting last week against Perth at home at their fortress, and the last place you want to go to after that is Bassendean. So that's why. And Swans had a crack last week for a half. They missed goals they should have gotten. They dropped marks inside 50 they should have taken. Pruitt might just put them on the line, and that's why I reckon, the Canberra might get behind them and the Swannies could get the win.
You could say.
And will True come back?
True, it's a bit 50-50 at this stage. We'll find out when the teams get unveiled, and we'll put that out on our socials on Facebook and Instagram on the Friday morning. But if True does come back, that's massive.
Big plus, yeah.
Certainly will. You've gone Swans. believe it or not, I'm going the other way again. Turn it up. Look who's talking. I'm going East Fremantle, especially with something that's there for them to prove. I reckon they need to win if they are to stay in touch with the 5 because they've been a contender for so long. Obviously, it's a bit of a transitional period with a lot of new faces in the side. I reckon Billy will get the best out of them. I reckon it's going to be a game that's won by which move the coach is going to make, which better move the coach is going to make. Is it going to be either from Pruner or is it going to be from Monaghan? It's going to be from Monaghan, I feel. I reckon he's going to get the best out of those young players in that side. They're going to inspire the side to a win, but only by about 2 goals, I feel. It'll be another good one.
I've gone 50-50 games, so tip the home team. So I've gone for Swannies.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if the Swans do get up because they've had a couple of good games over there at home, including round 3 against the Falcons. And speaking of, don't they need a win? It's a massive game for West Perth against Subiaco, who are starting to show great signs of improvement under Jared Schofield. This one's a day-night game, 4:10 at HIF Health Insurance Oval, live on 7+. For Subiaco, if they win heading into the state game break, I reckon if they win, they'll be contenders for the 5. They can make it because they've shown great improvement under Jared Schofield. But West Perth, they're overdue for a win, some will say, but their side has only really been competitive in 2 games during the season against Swan Districts, but they fell away and they gave it a red-hot crack, as you said, against South Fremantle. So this game is sort of a double-edged sword depending on one's point of view.
Yeah, I look at West Perth. Bevan's been good. Guadnan's been good.
He has, yes.
West has been good. And Keitel's been very good. Other than that, it's hard to make a case for the rest of the players. The dropping of Nelson, the return of Nelson, Inverarity and Brooks have come in from other sides, haven't really delivered as well as we probably should have thought of. Mulvogue's been serviceable as a recruit. Pagaro can't get on the park, nor can Shannon, their recruit. So things just haven't gone to plan for Sanzoni, but that will turn around, and I reckon it's going to be this week.
Mate, you almost had my eyes pop out of my head with that. Don't tell me you've gone with West Perth to get up. They're up against the Subiaco side that look restructured and revitalised. They've had some close results in the last few weeks, including the one against South Fremantle, and they've got a more flexible midfield. They're so mobile. Gyro, the Hickmott boys. Obviously, Borchett, he kicks goals. And Rickson as well in the ruck. He's developed into a good, strong ruckman over there at Subiaco. And Subiaco, I just feel they've got more. They've got more avenues to goal. West Perth's forward line, I'm afraid to say, and I keep saying it, but it's a fact, they're very predictable.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm tipping with my heart, not my head.
I'm not surprised about that whatsoever. Not surprised whatsoever. But
we need a win, West Perth.
They're overdue for one, to an extent, yes, but Subiaco's just got more class. They've just got more class all around the ground, and they play the bigger ground so well. Okay, last time they met, it was a community pool, it looked like, considering all the rain that they had, but they played it so well. And with the dry conditions that are forecast and the wide open spaces of HIF Health Insurance Oval, their midfield is going to run roughshod over them, I feel. It's going to be another long night.
Yeah, well, I'm just hopeful it'll click under Sansa and they can get the results. Hoping Hinder, Bevan, Sprigg, all those people can turn it on. Knock can get back into a bit of form.
He needs to.
Ben Johnson can start doing those beautiful kicks out of defence. Gwadden and General's the defence, and then
Sprigg in the ruck as well.
Yeah, you never know. We're due for a win.
You said it very bluntly. So we've gone opposite in all 5 games. So who's the one that's tipping with his heart and his head? We'll only find out come the weekend. It's a big game, that one, no doubt about that. And so are all the others this weekend in round 6 of the Sullivan Logistics WAFL Premiership season. There's also something big to look forward to before we go to the break. It is the state game, the 101st time these two sides will clash in the Kia WAFL state game up against South Australia. It forms a part of a historic representative triple header at Sullivan Logistics Stadium, which includes the under-18s and under-20s talent showcase kicking off the day, the Kia WAFL W state team taking on the SANFL W in the second match of the day, followed by the big one at 3:10, the WAFL state team against the SANFL state team. Grab your tickets now from Intix. It's only $10. We want a big crowd over there at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. It's going to be a great day of footy. Oh, I can't wait. So am I. It's going to be a ripper. We want
get down there. Yeah. Get 5,000 or 6,000 down there. Should be a bit of fun.
Absolutely. And, the best states in football clashing for the Hayden Bunton Junior Cup. We've currently got it after our great win last year, and I reckon we can do it again.
I'm so glad they're playing at a Leadville, not Optus, before an AFL game, just to let the punters in there who want to go. Proper footy people.
It's the way that, in modern waffle and modern sandful that a state game should be, when you're looking at, the level that it is in. And I reckon it being at a waffle ground in front of a great crowd, it just brings the soul back into a state game, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it deserves it. It deserves it. And it's going live on 7 and live back into South Australia as well. So big coverage. women's game beforehand, state game, and under 20s, like you said. So
yeah, that's right.
Get there early, make a day of it. In Leaderville, go and get a feed, get out of the footy.
It doesn't get better than that on Saturday, May 16th. You can see the WAFL W versus SANFL state game, by the way, on the WAFL official YouTube channel as well. So accessibility there for everyone. If you can't make it to the game, you can see the women's state game on YouTube and the men's live on 7. You know, you can't get better than that as well.
Yep, the home of football, Leaderville Oval.
Doesn't get better than that. We'll take a break, and when we do come back, we'll have Zoe Huggett from the West Perth Football Club, their leading goal kicker from last year at South Fremantle, now at the Falcons, looking ahead to their massive game against Subiaco, and a preview of the ATCO WAFL W Round 7, their last round before the state break. Stay where you are. We'll have more around the WAFL shortly.
Take it from me, great things happen at the WAFL.
Valentine rides and goals.
With free entry for kids, future stars on the ground, and a kick to kick at every break. The WAFL is where footy memories start and legends are made. Follow the WAFL on socials or get to a game.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate. On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Car Stereo Morley, proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years, selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems, stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley, or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
And you're back with us here on Around the WAFL. Paul Persick and Andrew Henryon with you as we look ahead to another weekend of WAFL W action in this part of the show. The ATCO WAFL W Round 7 is coming up this weekend. In fact, it starts tomorrow night under the lights at the Good Grocer Park. We'll preview that game very shortly. But West Perth, they've got another big game in their sights this weekend on Saturday morning against Subiaco, the preliminary finalists from last year. And West Perth pre-season landed a big coup. They brought in Zoe Huggett, the South Fremantle leading goal kicker of 2025. We're going to ask her now why the move to West Perth and how she's found the game plan at West Perth under Steve Chapman. Heading into this massive game against the Lions, she joins us right now on Around the WAFL. Hello, Zoe.
Hello, how are you going?
I'm going very well. Great to have you on the show. First question, what's the move to West Perth? What sparked the move from South Fremantle to West Perth? Was it down to opportunity or other reasons in life? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so a couple of reasons. I've actually lived north of the river for probably about 3.5 years now and just had the commute to South Freo every day or every other day. But I actually ran into Clint in our gym. And I kind of said, oh, what are you doing here? And he said, what are you doing here? And kind of just started, really loose conversation. And it kind of just all went from there. And I think, when an opportunity presents, you just have to do what's best in the moment. And that was probably, leaving a club that I'd been at for 6 years and seeing what was around the corner. So, yeah.
How have you found?
It was an opportunity to stick.
How have you found playing at West Perth? Obviously, you find the big spaces at HIF Health Insurance Oval suited to your game style. You like to use those open spaces as much as you can in the forward line. And you were magnificent last week in booting a couple of great goals against Pure Thunder. How have you found the environment and the team over there at West Perth?
Yeah, I really love it. I think, similar to what I guess Ashley Gomes said to you a few weeks ago, I think the change has really reignited my love for footy, and it was probably something I didn't know I needed to do, and I didn't know that that's what would make such a big impact. But the girls have just welcomed me with open arms. The coaches have been fantastic, and I'm really loving my footy, and I think that that's just showing through with what we've managed to do in the season so far. And to be honest, there's probably no place that I would rather be, and that's, again, not to throw shade on South or anything, but I think, the chapter probably closed at a good time, and this one's really opened at another good time. So, yeah, I'm loving it up at West Perth, and, yeah, no regrets from me.
As the old saying goes, when one door closes, another one opens, and certainly that door has been thrown wide open, and you've really made the most of some great opportunities over at West Perth. Of course, last week, big win over Peel Thunder. What was the messaging upon the review of that win? Obviously, they're up against a Peel Thunder side that, are still a very young team, in transition, a lot of young players in that side, but the margin really represented how dominant your side was all throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, I think for us, and every team will say it, but for us, we're looking at the bigger picture, and we're looking at our process, and we're looking at how we win games, and it's not necessarily the outcome that we're looking at. It's the process and how we get there, and our game on the weekend was no different to that. We did have another lapse, and I think we're yet to play 4 quarters of footy, and hopefully, as we continue to stick with our process, that'll come. But I think it just shows what we're able to do, and when we do string, a good first quarter followed by a good second quarter, and we can kind of put the foot down, and I think we did that on the weekend. And I said to a couple of the Peel girls, like, every club goes through this stage, and it's hard, like being at South Freo from the early years, it is really quite challenging, but you become better for it as a team and as a player. And credit to Peel, they just grounded out. They had a great game against Subi the week before, so that it's building for them as well. And we just have to continue to follow our process, and our wins will come as well. Speaking of
Subiaco, you knocked them off in the first round by 11 points, which was a huge scout. Me and Rothy were talking earlier in the season about that win being a real boost for West Perth. Imagine if you can do it again against the Lions side that, they're in the top 4 like West Perth, but they haven't really got into top gear so far this season. The confidence must be sky high within the playing group at the prospect of possibly beating the Lions a second time.
Oh, yeah, I think it's just belief. I think we look at our season and we wanted to make a mark. We wanted to put our foot on the competition, so to speak, and let people know that we're here. And we had the top 5 teams of last season in the first 4 weeks, and no other team has had that. So every team in the top 4 as we've played, and Peel was our first game outside of those who were in kind of finals contention last year. So for us, we look at Subi, but we don't change our processes. We don't change our game plan based on the opposition. We just want to play each week our game style every week, and that's our aim. And we look at it, with excitement. We want to win. Every club wants to win. Every team wants to win. So, we'll continue with that, and we look forward to every game with excitement. And we think we can win. So, again, as does every club. But yeah, we're excited to keep our season going with some good momentum too, heading into a couple of games with teams we haven't played yet at all. So, yeah, it's exciting for us.
Hey, Zoe, Andrew here. Just a general question, and you're a good person to ask. Have you seen the WAFL W grow with crowds and participation in the last few years?
Oh, massively. I started, with WAFL where we, had to bring our own tape, and we didn't have trainers, and we'd be lucky if we got, 50 people through the gates and free entry. And then now with WAFL W, the league and everything has grown so significantly, and we get really good crowds, obviously not comparable to the boys, but comparable to women's footy. We get some really good numbers, and it builds a really great atmosphere. And there's actually nothing better than, you kick a goal or something big happens in a game and you hear the crowd and they get around you. And it's grown massively, and I think, that's great credit to, the Footy Commission or the now WA Football League and in what they've been able to do. Because, it's grown massively, and I think that talks to participation rates skyrocketing and platforms, streaming on YouTube or Streamer last year, and it's getting it out there, and that's what's growing the sport. So, I think it's really great.
Yeah, I saw some finals games last year. Those supporters have a bit of passion, don't they, in September?
God, massive. Some people, they go all out. You know, there's different characters at different grounds, supporting different teams that you see. And you know that, when you go to Swans, you've got a bloke up there who will, bellow his lungs out for a whole game, and you just think, God, how do you keep going, And you get that everywhere, and everyone's got their unique character.
Well, we've got Daniel down at West Perth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. People get around it, and I think with the fixturing, like this weekend, we've got all Subi and West Perth games in one night, in one day. And I think if you want to build, I guess unity and connection and all of that sort of stuff and really grow competitions across, all the way from League, Rogers and Colts and reserves, like that's the way to do it. And I think it's been fixtured quite well this year with quite a few back-to-backs or where all leagues are playing in one day.
No, it's fantastic, and it really brings the people in to present a united community front no matter what club they support. It's a great perspective to have, and especially with the growth of WAFLW football over the last 2 years in particular, with crowds and the way the game is played, it can only go up from here. Sensational stuff. Zoe, we really appreciate your time here on Around the Waffle. All the best for Saturday against Subiaco. A big game, that one.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
That was Zoe Huggett, leading goal kicker from South Fremantle last year, now at West Perth, and it's going to be a massive game, no doubt about that, as they take on Subiaco. Let's get into round 7 of the ATCO WAFLW season, and it begins tomorrow night, Muppet. East Fremantle under the lights at Goodgrosser Park. They take on the reigning premiers Claremont. Yep. And East Fremantle, they got into gear last week through the likes of McNaughton, Jerzy Brown, and also a couple of their other midfield stars, Canane in particular, against Perth. But Claremont, after that round 1 defeat to Swan Districts, they've improved week in, week out. They've started to really better themselves as a football side. And they really have arrived in the last couple of weeks. And they're up against an East Fremantle side also finding some good form. Harkin in particular, the Ortlip sisters, they've both been terrific. So this is a game where both sides have something to prove. Under lights 2 on Friday. It's the second of 4 straight home games for East Fremantle in these situations.
Yeah, only one game between them on the ladder. So, and East Fremantle's it doesn't matter what grade it is, East Fremantle home team, always a hard place to win at. I just find Claremont a bit more complete, continuity, coach has been there a long time, got the runs on the board. It's pretty hard to tip against them. Yeah, it is. When you're looking at it, I'd give East Fremantle a chance with the way they've been able to fight back. But, you look at the class that Claremont have got in their starting lineup, and a lot of them are featured in the state squad as well, in particular Jamie Harkin, who, has been taking it a little bit easy at training. But no wonder, you want to be ready for those big games, and they're managing the workloads to a great professional standard. They were on fire at training this week, and we're going to speak with Jack Schwarze, taking the show on location in just a moment. But Claremont, the way they run it through their midfield has been absolutely brilliant. There were some that were a bit unlucky not to get taken in the pre-season draft last week. How is she not playing AFL? I'd love to know. I would love to know. She is so much better than so many of the WAFLW players. She could be a Milan Murdoch and walk straight into an AFL team, couldn't she? I can't disagree with that. But Harkin, she's letting her football do the talking. I reckon she's showing this. Yeah, sometimes it is not, but she continues to prove why she is AFL calibre. There's no doubt about that. Grand finals as well. She does. I mean, look at last year, won the Lunita medal for best on ground against Swan Districts in that 1-point win. But just going to Friday night, in the nighttime conditions, Claremont, they do love playing a bit of night football as well. So, not much dew on the ground over there at Goodgrosser Park. And their run and carry through the midfield, I reckon, is going to be the real difference in the end. And I won't be surprised if you've gone the same as me because, looking at this Claremont side, class is what can really tell them apart from East Fremantle. Yeah, Claremont too much firepower. Claremont for me. Yeah, I'll say Claremont as well, but made by about 4 goals. East Fremantle will give them a bit of fight, but it'll be too much in the end. Now, West Perth against Subiaco. Now, this is a game where the winner heading into the state game will really bring some confidence. The winner maybe could be the chief challenger for Swan Districts and Claremont's mantle in the top 2. And in this game, HIF Health Insurance Oval, 11:20 on the WAFL YouTube channel. Both teams, like what we discussed for the Friday night game, they've got something to prove, don't they? West Perth in 3rd, Subiaco in 4th place. And a Subiaco side, despite the likes of having, Steen, Paige Shepherd, Crystal Petrevsky, the Dara Kerr medalist of last year. How many? She's just a rack, isn't she? She keeps racking them up. She does it just for fun. I did the videos last year for her, and I was like, how much ball does she get? It's like, how is she not, another one, how is she not on AFL? Well, she was in the AFLW system previously with Melbourne and the West Coast Eagles, but, how she hasn't been there for longer, I'd love to know, because she's got the AFLW calibre qualities that make her one of the best players in the competition. Well. Yeah. I don't understand. I know she's a former AFLW player, like you said, but Man, she's a weapon.
She is. I mean, Dara Kerr medalist last year, as well as our Around the Waffle Player of the Year. So the resume speaks for itself. And she's got great support.
Happy about that.
Yeah, she certainly was. She certainly was, yes. But it's well deserved. But they've got so much depth, don't they, Subiaco? You know, Paige Shepherd, Lisa Steen, Petrevsky. My big concern is, and I've said this at the start of the year, since Olivia Walmeren's got drafted into the AFLW system, they just haven't been able to find a number one key forward. And when you're up against the West Perth side, who, you know, have been a bit up and down in the last couple of years, but through Zoe Huggett, who we spoke about a little earlier, they have found that key forward. She kicked 3 goals last week in that win over Peel Thunder. I reckon, to me, that's going to be the big difference in the end, and it might go as far to say West Perth win this one because they've got more key forward options rather than Subiaco, who've had to rely on their goal-kicking mids to provide that scoreboard pressure. I'm saying West Perth. I feel that they could make a real statement and beat Subiaco a second time.
Well, I'm with you. I'm going for West Perth. It's another flip of the coin game. Both teams are on 12 points, and I'll just go the home ground advantage. Long way to drive up to Joondalup for the Subi girls, and yeah, West Perth to get the win.
If they do win, are they going to be the main challengers to Swan Districts and Claremont? I know it's early in the season, but could that be a real statement win if they can get it done?
From what I've seen so far, it's hard to see Swans and Claremont not playing off in the grand final. I'm big on looking at their percentages. 233 for Swannies. Good luck.
Yeah, massive. And they haven't even lost a game so far this year. But will be a great game, that one. West Perth and Subiaco. Swan Districts, of course, have the bye, by the way, this week. And might be well earned as well because they've had 6 straight wins and looking unstoppable. Now we go to Fremantle Community Bank Oval. Another Saturday morning game live on the Waffle YouTube channel. It's the Bulldogs and Peel Thunder. Now, South Fremantle, they must win to stay in touch with the top 4. And they've got a strong midfield contingent led by former Shark Ash Gomes. Now, she is an absolute magnet. Like Petrevsky, she racks up possessions like it's shilling peas. She's unbelievable. The pace that she has, her agility, and just her creative opportunities really stands out amongst the pack. One of the best in the WAFL W competition. But what really needs to improve over there at South Fremantle is she needs a little more support. She needs a little more support in that midfield, and they can't be a one-player team. You know, Peel Thunder, I'm afraid to say, are a one-player team, and I say that because when Chloe Wrigley got suspended earlier in the season, that really messed up the midfield dynamic. When Chloe Wrigley came back, okay, they were a little more competitive in the second half against West Perth, but they were playing catch-up football all throughout after that first quarter start, so someone's really going to have to step up from both sides to really try and make a game of it.
Going to be hard for Peel yet to win a game this year. You think South would just hold a bit too much for them?
Yeah, having said that, you know, you never know. We've seen a few surprises in the WAFL W competition this year. We've seen a few upsets. You know, Peel are not without a chance, but as long as they have somebody step up, you know, to support the Chloe Wrigley types in the competition. They've got Ebony Bilsich, who can play a bit of midfield, good goal-kicking mid as well. Other than that, not much to write home about, but they need to, you know, really show that they can challenge the top teams. And South Fremantle just got a little more. They've got Pommers back, Gilchrist, Tua Karena are providing good run and carry.
Team.
Yeah, well, it's stacked, yeah, judging by the names there. Yeah. But the talent that's there, they're a high-calibre side, and I feel South Fremantle will have too much.
Yeah, it's a must-win game for South if they want to stay in finals contention, so the Bulldogs for me.
At home as well, often a hard place to beat South Fremantle over there at Fremantle Oval. Now we go over to the Sunday. It's the only Sunday game of the weekend, and it's going to be a big one for both sides. East Perth, they are still on 1 win so far this season, as are Perth, who have had a couple of losses, a win and a draw earlier in the season. And for this one here, the winner of this game will gain some confidence heading into the state game bye. You know, Perth have got a couple of players in their state team, most notably Isabella Shannon, who was the runner-up in the Dara Kerr medal last year. Yeah. She, like Petrevsky and Gomes, they're ball magnets. And I reckon Perth, through their midfield, who are starting to get better, they're not really getting the results, but they're getting better. They're having a crack under former premiership coach at East Fremantle, Steph Wadling, which has really sparked the side up a little bit. And against the young East Perth side, who have got some okay players like McGrath and Patterson running through the middle, I reckon it's going to be a challenge for East Perth to try and combat the class and discipline that the Perth side has got. And Perth, through their ruck Molly Warren in particular, who's averaged near 30 hitouts this season, that could be a tough challenge for them. Who's going to be the one to combat the likes of Warren and Shannon?
Yeah, I like Perth are at home. If they lose this, it's just whoever loses this game's probably curtains for the season. You're making up a lot of ground, and I know there's only been 5 or 6 games played with the bye, so I'm starting to think, yeah, Perth have got a bit too much to play for, and they should be just account for East Perth.
Yeah, how much though? It's going to be a question because East Perth, they were in it for an extent against Claremont. You know, I'll give them that. You know, they had a good crack.
High-scoring sides, Perth or East Perth. That's why you think it'll be just an arm wrestle.
No, that's a good point that you make. You know, they're not really averaging as much as what Swan Districts and Claremont are, obviously. So you'd expect this one to be a grind with a lot of contested ball dominating the entire game.
Yeah, just Perth for me, I think.
Yeah, I'll go Perth as well. So that is a big weekend of WAFLW football. Who do you think is going to win on the weekend? Let us know on our socials on Facebook and Instagram. Of course, we talked about the men's state game a little earlier. The women, of course, they're going to be a part of a big state game. You can come and watch the big clash between the WAFLW and the SANFL. It all forms part of a historic triple header at Sullivan Logistics Stadium on May 16th, kicking off with the under-18s against the under-20s, the WAFLW state game, and, of course, the men's state game. It's only $10 tickets. Make sure you get down there. We want to see at least 6,000 there at Leederville. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, hopefully fine weather and pack it out and give the crow eaters, send them home.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to do the double, wouldn't we? After we had a great men's triumph last year, we want to see the women add to it as well. We want to see the women get the job done first and then the men follow it up and make it a great double. And I'd love to, give a shout out to John Casey, who I called the state game with in 22. He did not.
Coming over.
He is coming over for that one. And by gee, if WA do win both, I'm going to be the one with a big laugh.
Well, this is what the fans have said. We want to go and watch the state game. Now you've got your chance. Get along. Hopefully it's a fine day. Should be a ripping game. I mean, it's going to be an arm wrestle. WA state side. Adam Reid, I can tell you, and Pebbles Amajuri, I spoke to him at the media day. They are so passionate and they so badly want to win this and go back to back.
I've been hearing that Amajuri will be captain again.
Yeah, that's the male game, and so he should be. He's a terrific team man. He's ripped, isn't he?
He is hard as nails. I reckon Amajuri will be the captain of the men's, and my male is in the women's side. I reckon it could be Jamie Henry from Swan Districts. I reckon she will be captain, and especially with the form that she's been on this season, I reckon that she's going to fill that role very nicely. So my male is Jamie Henry will be captain of the WAFLW state team.
All right, good news.
And that'll be very good news for WA because she has been on fire. She's leading by 18 votes, in fact, in our WAFLW Player of the Year, and she is on fire. She's only been outside the 4 and 5 vote bracket once this year.
I saw, because I did the videos last year for the Sandover, how good is she around the contest?
Oh, brilliant.
She just wins those 50-50 balls all the time. Yeah, she's the player you want in your team.
Certainly will. We're going to take one final break, and when we do come back, we're going to stay with the WAFLW realm because we're going on location to Claremont this week. I spoke with Jack Schwarze during their training session, and he talked about the load between the club coaching duties and the state coaching duties and all the success he has had at Claremont. Stay where you are on location, coming up after this.
Take it from me, great things happen at the Waffle.
Valentine Roads and goals.
With free entry for kids, future stars on the ground, and a kick to kick at every break. The Waffle is where footy memories start and legends are made. Follow the Waffle on socials or get to a game.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate. On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Stereo Morley, proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years, selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems, stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley, or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
You're back with us here on Around the Waffle. Paul Persick and Andrew Henryon with you, and we're going to wrap things up on a great note because we take the show on the road, Muppet, as you know, this year with Around the Waffle on location. We've gone to several clubs in 2026.
You got the right hat to go on the road.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's a modern-day cowboy, except I don't ride on a horse. I drive in a car. Turn it up. Thank you very much. Yes, the cowboy hat is here. It's back for the Sandover medal, so there you go. But in all seriousness, on location this week at Revo Fitness Stadium, and the success and professionalism of the Claremont WAFL W team really can't be scoffed at because they've won 3 premierships in 4 years, and Jack Schwarze, he has been the coach that has conquered all. And now he's got another big load of duty on his plate because he's got the state team to look after heading into that big game against South Australia on May 16th. How does he manage it? Well, here it is, Around the Waffle on location at Claremont with Jack Schwarze. Claremont thrive on 2 things as a club: success and professionalism. It's not just carried into the men's team for 100 years to a great extent, but to a greater extent in recent years, it's transitioned into their women's program. This man is one of the leaders of that run. So much so, it may well be his middle name. Jack Schwarze has led Claremont to 4 grand finals, 3 of them with premiership glory. But all that success, he says, is just another step in a long coaching journey.
Me personally, as well as our environment, because we are so growth mindset, I always just have it's not enough. Like I feel like almost a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, how have I actually managed to coach 4 grand finals and 3 winning ones and a couple of state teams? So yeah, it's not enough. If I finish now, I'll probably finish not fully satisfied.
This year did not start in the best way. A bad defeat to Swan Districts in the grand final rematch looked to have been a major setback. But since that loss, they've slowly got back into typical Claremont form with 4 consecutive wins. But Schwarze did admit the team still has some work to do if they are to get into their true mojo.
The loss itself against Swan Districts, while it was tough, we moved on pretty quick from that, and it's all the in-between stuff for the rest of the season so far that's been more challenging because we continually want to be the best, but we just aren't nailing it all the time, and that's where our growth continually comes from.
This year also brings more responsibility on Schwarze's coaching plate. He is in his 3rd straight campaign as WAFL W state coach for the clash with South Australia at Leederville on May 16. So how does state coaching fall into his club coaching schedule?
We make sure that they don't train, or they do very minimal on our main Tuesday sessions, so that on the Wednesday night they can train fully with the state girls. So a couple of them will take the night off. There's a couple like Jamie Harkin and Jess Freem who refuse to take the night off, and I have to sort of wrestle them out of drills to make sure that they actually stay out and rest their bodies so that they can. But yeah, that week of the state game, they don't get the rest at all. They'll train all 3 sessions with the state
got the work
team
ethic and drive, don't they?
Just keep going. So lucky they're used to it and they love it. But yeah, we certainly do have to manage it.
Even with both roles on his plate at this time of year, Jack has not let all his well-earned success get to his head. He treats every achievement as a small step in his coaching journey, and he's always striving for more glory in the years to come.
I always just want a little bit more, so that keeps me level-headed enough to go, yeah, I'm not done, I'm not too big, I'm not, I haven't ticked everything that I want to tick off yet. I've still got plenty to go. I've still got heaps to learn myself. I'm developing and growing as a coach myself. There's still heaps every year that I get some feedback for, or some growth for me to go. So yeah, until it gets to the perfect, I'm probably not going to be settle or satisfied.
And that is what's made Jack Schwarze the perfect coach at Claremont. His relentless drive for success and his pursuit for more really inspires the players and the supporters down here at the Claremont Football Club. And the club that has high expectations for continued success and high professionalism, Jack Schwarze fits the mould perfectly, not just at the club, but also his reward in being the state coach for a 3rd consecutive year. Before he does get to the state game though, he's got one big test coming up on Friday night under lights at the Good Grocer Park against East Fremantle. At Revo Fitness Stadium, Paul Persick on location for Around the Waffle.
Well, there you have it. Jack Schwarze, Muppet, the Claremont coach, and despite all the success that he has had...
sick of winning grand final.
I don't think they are. I do not think they are. I mean, you heard Jack a little earlier. He's not satisfied. He wants to, make it more success, and that's what I like about Jack, even though he's very successful as a coach, he's driven for more. And, especially with the game against East Fremantle coming up tomorrow night and also the state game coming up in another week's time, he is striving to obviously not achieve perfection, but somewhere close to it. And, that drive doesn't stop for a bloke like Jack. His passion on the siren when they win those grand finals, it means a lot to him. He gets up there and he speaks and he says the same thing, how much it means to them, and they want to keep going. They've developed a ripper culture there, the WAFL W Claremont team. They certainly have. Big thanks to Lucinda, who helped us out there putting together that on-location piece and all at the Claremont Football Club. All the best to them on Friday night. Thanks for coming in, Muppet. Really do appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun and, looking forward to some great WAFL action over the weekend.
I can't wait for our text message on Saturday night and how the results go.
Yes, if you do get more of them right, I'm not going to hear the end of it from you. There's no doubt about that. Thanks a lot for your help, mate. Really do appreciate it. Thanks so much for your company as well, whether you're watching on the Around the Waffle YouTube channel and also on your podcast services. Ethan Roth will be back on Monday to recap all the great action, and we look forward next Thursday on the Around the Waffle YouTube channel. It's our big state game preview, looking ahead to WA and South Australia. Thanks so much for your company. Have a great weekend in footy. We'll see you Monday.